Welcome, beautiful creatures, to the Lightness of Being Podcast, where we celebrate the dance of life and explore ways to find joy, laughter, and lightness, even when faced with challenges. Join me, your host, Monica Stefanik, as we step into the light and discover a realm of potential and possibilities for greater ease in our lives. Let's laugh, learn, and grow together. Welcome, beautiful beings, to this episode of the Lightness of Being Podcast. I am here with my friend Taryn DuBose.
Yep.
Yes, I got it. Oh my gosh, it's been a couple weeks. I've been going through a lot of initiations, and so the podcast has been on pause, kind of unintentionally, intentionally. It's just how Spirit's been working through. So I'm like so grateful for you to be this first one after a couple weeks and what we get to open up this conversation about. And I'm just like, it's always divinely guided as things are meant to show up and be. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, opening your heart. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Taryn DuBose. I'm a just lady here in bed. But no, part of who I am is a holistic mind-body occupational therapist. And I'm here to share my story about depression. And part of that includes suicide, talking about suicide. So I just wanted to share that with folks and just let everyone know that this is not intended to be mental health advice or medical advice. And this is my personal story. And if you are struggling with depression, call your local crisis center, or you can call the Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
We also have our beautiful support animals with us. So we both have doodles. Is Waffles a golden doodle or a labradoodle?
He is a golden doodle.
Okay. We've got double golden doodles with fresh haircuts just wandering this fun little forest we have in the backyard.
Yeah.
There's such great energy just to have around.
Yeah.
Did he come into your life during this period of time, or was it after?
I've always kind of struggled with depression, but he came into our life quite a while ago, like when my daughter was in third grade, and now she's graduated high school.
Okay.
So kind of a while, but he's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so wonderful.
Yeah.
We also might get serenaded by some music tonight. I don't even know who's playing over there right now.
I think it's Bare Naked Ladies.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Fun. Love that jazz.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, what's something that you're just celebrating right now in your life?
Oh, what am I celebrating? Yeah. Well, I'm trying to open my own practice. So, I am opening my own practice. So that's been very fun to just step into this next iteration of who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So right now do you work for someone, or you?
I work for myself.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, but practice is shifting into integrating in more of what you have.
I didn't work actually, or haven't worked for a little while because of part of my health issues, but I've since come through the other side. and so I've opened my own practice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what does that look like right now, your practice? Just a little bit of background.
So I became an occupational therapist 23 years ago. So I've been a therapist for 23 years. And I knew that I wanted to be an OT when I was like 14.
Wow.
It's the only therapeutic profession that integrates mental health and physical health. Thought about being a PT, and then I found out about OT and how it integrates mental health, and in the state of Oregon, spirituality actually falls within our scope of practice.
Cool. So, I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and Oregon is one of the 6 states where OTs are qualified mental health providers. So I am trying to help people that have somatic symptoms and mental health issues, or pain symptoms that they realize are connected to their trauma or their mental health.
Which it's all
Yeah.
connected.
And some of that practice is using Tensegrity medicine, which is like, yeah, we'll talk more about that. But I got trained in EMDR and IFS, and then I'm in this training right now for Tensegrity medicine, which is this beautiful practice of helping people look at patterns in their bodies and in their mental body and their emotional body and all the other bodies.
Integrating it all together.
Yeah.
And I mean, my personal experience and like how my evolution of like working with people and bodies has gone is that like it's also interconnected. Like we have pain in our physical bodies typically because of other things that are going on.
Yeah.
And so it's just like to not acknowledge that there's always more going on underneath the surface than just what is physically. Like it's so easy to address the physical stuff because it's like that's what we feel or that's what we see or that's what we experience. And it's like, well, let me just like push more or massage harder or like go and get this type of therapy and see if that's going to help. And it's like, okay, that's beautiful and it might relieve your symptoms for a little while, but if we're not actually addressing the core of where these things are coming from, which could be like chemical, emotional, or it could be physical, then you're just doing a disservice to your body as a whole.
Yeah. So we can talk more about that, but it's, to me, I can't separate any of that.
No.
I was talking to someone today and they told me about a medical problem they had. And I'm like, yeah, but you do realize that, everything is so interconnected. Our beliefs, our relationship with something higher, it's all so interconnected. So the first part of my career, I specialized in shoulder, elbow, wrist, and hand stuff. So I was seeing all these people in the clinic. I'd be doing myofascial work on them and they would have a trauma release.
Wow.
And then the orthopedic clinic would kind of be like, well, you don't do that. We're in the orthopedic clinic and we send them to mental health. And then people would go to mental health and forget to tell them about their autoimmune disease or their chronic pain issue or their, So anyway, so that was just a big part of my story. And then I've also worked with kids for 10 years. And I think through this evolution of what I've gone through, my dog is taking like
That's okay. It's fine.
Oh, it's your dog.
Totally fine. Oh, that's Henry for sure.
I'm noticing, I've worked with kids with sensitive nervous systems for the past 10 years. And there are kids showing up in this world that have a thinner veil and have different nervous systems. And I connect really well with those kids. And then also just with adults who, I think my experience personally through depression led to a spiritual awakening, and the Western medical model doesn't really acknowledge that. And so getting help processing through that was another reason that I've chosen to kind of open my own practice and help people that are also in that same type of situation.
Everything's just like kind of so divided. So it's really important to like, I feel like, especially at this point in time, which is also kind of part of what I'm starting to integrate within my practice of being the space where people can come to for a few different things instead of me having to like, it's beautiful to refer out for certain things, especially that are out of our scope of practice. But it's like when you're building a relationship with someone, especially as like practitioner and client, for them to come to you and be able to have someone that they trust that they can come to be able to open up this greater space and get to these deeper depths is so important, because every time you go to a new practitioner, even if it's for something completely different, like you have to reestablish that basic level of trust, and it takes time, which is not bad or wrong, but it's beautiful that through your experience you get to create something that was not available a couple of years ago while you were going through what you were going through, and to get to have that available is there's just so much of that going on in the world now. So it's beautiful to see people like you just like living through your experience and creating spaces for people to be able to come to and heal on these deeper levels. So I'm grateful that you're just doing that. And
So my hope is to integrate like body work into my mental health practice. And
Yeah.
We can talk more about Tensegrity later, but
Totally.
super cool.
We can geek out on that
It's
later. I
super
love it.
cool.
Super cool. We love all the body stuff.
Yeah.
Well, where do you want to start with your story and what you've gone through? Like, what feels most alive as a space within you right now of what you would like to share on that journey?
Yeah. So I think the primary reason I came on here was to talk about a unique experience that happened to me. And something I was totally unprepared for, and at the same time so grateful for it now. But yeah, I was in a deep, dark hole of depression after losing someone, a relationship that I really valued. And I just could not get out of it, and ended up having to take time off work and stuff like that for depression. And I met this person who offered alternative kind of ways of treating that. I had tried everything. I tried every antidepressant and really wasn't getting better. And so after I met that person, after 6 months, I became pretty much suicidal and was just not wanting to be around. Sucks. So anyway, I called him, and he offered to guide me using alternative means. And I didn't get better for the first while. We tried a couple different things, and I didn't get better. And he got kind of frustrated that I wasn't getting better. So we had a break, and I hadn't seen him for like 3 months, and I was really, really down, and my daughter was gone with her dad, and I decided to take 6 grams of a certain substance and lock myself in the closet in the dark with some music. Wow. And during that time, my body started to just writhe, and I had visions of a mandala of these hieroglyphic people going in and getting every ounce of stored trauma on a cellular level out of me, and it was intense. And at the end of that experience, I ended up hyperventilating, having a panic attack, and calling my friend who I hadn't seen for a long time, who came over and calmed me down. And initially, I just kind of dismissed that as that didn't really happen. I had met someone who does this spinal flow kind of situation that you've talked about before. And I let him know that I was doing this experiment that day. And so for whatever reason, even though I'm a very grounded person, I thought, well, maybe he was moving me remotely.
It happens.
Yeah. He said he does it remotely, but it wasn't him. He told me it wasn't him. So I just kind of brushed it off and didn't really regard it. I'm stubborn.
I resonate. I know that space well.
And so, yeah, I had other experiences sober and on other alternative medications. And this sounds really unhealthy, but this person that was helping me, we turned into a relationship. Okay. And we have some kind of karmic, tantric,
always
past life situation.
Love that for you.
So yeah, I chose, actually, I think it was his energy that initiated it. He's the kind of person that he's he's an energy worker. He would never tell you that, but he is the walking shadow of Carl Jung's shadow world, like reincarnated.
Wow.
And so intense. I'm sorry.
Do not apologize for crying. You're okay.
And to fall in love with the beauty of that. And to see the shadow of the shadow, which is the most beautiful light, was intense. And this relationship stripped me every false thing on me and reflected back to me how much I had left to myself. But anyway, that relationship was a very private relationship, lasted 3 years. And through that and these other experiences, I should say, you know, I had that one that I kind of dismissed. And then I've probably had 8 more of those where the energy is just moving my body for 4 or 5 hours. And then the other experience I've had, just, hi, sweetie. That has been really, really, I mean, it must be important because I've had it like 10 times.
Yeah.
I when it starts to happen, I can feel it coming on. And I try to focus the best I can in whatever present moment I'm in as I feel it, because it's so profound that I'm trying to remember it. And so as I try to focus on the present moment, I see a million different of the present moments out on either side of me, like slightly different, but like the same moment, but like parallel
Universe type of
things.
thing. Yeah.
And then it takes me from this big base of the triangle of every possible infinite option. It takes me back through my life at like a warp speed. I have a bad memory, but it's showing me things that I know, like that I can't even remember, but I like go back through my entire life. And then I become DNA. And I'm unconscious at this point. So I don't know what's happening in my body. And I start spinning. My body starts spinning. That's what I've been told. So I start spinning like DNA.
Wow.
And then it's so profound. And then I become like nanoparticles. And then I become like meteors, and then planets, and then galaxies. And then I'm like spiraling galaxies, and then I'm the universe, and then I'm infinite universes. And then I'm beyond all space and time. And I'm in, and I'm sorry. I'm with nothing and everything and infinite all at the same time. And like the infinite, like there's infinite infinities. And then I have some kind of spiritual orgasm that is like beyond like just some spontaneous, intense spiritual orgasm. And then I wake up, and then my body starts doing motions. Like one time it's like this, and my body is like piking. And from the core of who I am, I'm being like regenerated on like a particle level. And as I'm doing this and piking and being rebuilt in particles. So there was that one. And then another one that happens to me a lot of the time is I become the energy of the caduceus. So I'm like the actual energy of the snakes going up the caudicus. And yeah, it's powerful. And since that time, I've had like 10 of those. Like it's reproducible, like it's, yeah, it's profound. And it's the energy that moves me. It's like the mathematics of love. And like, that's what we call it as love, but it's not, it's like so much more than that. And yeah, there's nothing outside of it. Like there's no cruel, gross, insane action that it doesn't cover. And yeah, and so that's happened. And then the body movements happen during sex with this person. And now they happen randomly walking down the street. You know, like I'll be walking and my hands will be doing a mudra and I won't really know what's happening. I didn't even know what mudras were. So it'll be happening and then I'll be like, oh, what's that one? And I'll go look it up. And I've just had, with this experience, the most intense like visuals, and I think my clairsenses are coming online. I think I've had them since I was very young. I think since I was very young, oh, got a hair in my mouth. I've been sensitive and I've known things as they're happening or before they're going to happen. But I've dismissed it my whole life. I mean, a couple of the things I haven't been able to dismiss, like one of my former partners, I knew the second he was engaged and the second his first child was conceived, and I knew her name, which is Bergen, before she was born. And it's just, yeah. And I think I'm not the only one, is my guess. I think, especially in Oregon, with people accessing alternative means of
accessing higher consciousness.
Yeah. And these experiences that I do think there's an awakening that's in line with accessing altered states of consciousness. Yeah. And so, yeah, I wanted to share because I think my experience has been, you know, I was very surprised. I was raised Mormon and we weren't taught about any of this. And yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's changed my life. I think like one of the visions I got was this figure with a whole bunch of arms, and I had to go look it up, and it was Kali. And she has wiped my life clean.
She does that.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I guess she's just an energy, and I don't know. Well, I don't really know. I think we have symbols for things that are energetic, and we just symbolize them with our creativity. But yeah, that energy took my job, took my relationship, and it's called me into this work that I'm doing now. And I've started, well, I've always felt energy, but yeah, I feel the energy between the particles of who I am. Yeah. And I have different kinds of them. I have one that comes out of my solar kind of plexus area. And what's the other one? I have one that feels like it's not me, that like comes in through the top of my head and down and is extremely intense. And then I have one that I can feel around me. And it feels like, hi, buddy. It's the equation. I'm gonna cry. I can't even really like put it into words, but it's the equation underneath mathematics and philosophy and art and creation. So yeah, I feel the one coming up through my spine, then I feel this one, and then I have another one out of my solar plexus, and then I have another one that I can feel around me. And since I was very young, I've been obsessed with anatomy. Like, I've seen anatomy as such beautiful art since I was so young. And since this has happened, it speaks to me in like symbols I would never think to be interested in, like ancient Egyptian and Hermetic and esoteric kind of symbols. And it's a knowing that's not cognitive. It's a gnosis. It's like thing, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. So yeah, I think when I was first an occupational therapist, I would scrape people with my gua sha thing, and I would do these big joint mobilizations where I'd put on a belt and hook it around someone's arm and lean back and stretch their joint, and heavy myofascial work. And I got this vision that I was trying to force people's atoms into shapes that I wanted them to be in. And now I'm learning about, well, I think I'm not learning about it. There's an aspect of me that like knows all of this, like somehow. And then there's Taryn, who I'm playing. And we have conversations with her. And it's a spectrum. Yeah, I'm learning whatever the subtle bodies are that ancient cultures have picked up on. I am learning the anatomy of that. I'm learning the anatomy of just through my gnosis. I'm learning anatomy of whatever that is. And then this part of me already knows it. So it's interesting.
It's like a re-remembering.
And I think we're all wired to remember in this way. And I think we all probably have these senses. And I think society has taught us we start kids in kindergarten ignoring their need for play, ignoring when they need to go to the bathroom. We have them eat lunch in 10 minutes. We've stopped listening to our bodies, and we've gotten really good. By the time you hit your 40s, you're supposed to be amazing at ignoring your body. But yeah, I think the more we can tap in, we're all created to be such beautiful, authentic, unique, whatever part of that equation. And I think what happens is, since the time we're very young, we get these filters put on us by society or our parents or whatever. And so I think what, like, in part has led me to this other body work is, like, for example, I was 5'7" in middle school.
Right.
And I had a very abusive past. And I shrunk myself to be small, like emotionally, physically. I didn't use my voice for a very long time. And now that I'm almost 48, I realized that I have a C5-6 disc that is completely gone because I've assumed a posture of unworthiness for so long. And, you know, we can all tell when someone's has good confidence and how they're feeling based on their posture. So we really do take on the shapes of our beliefs in essence. And so my hope, I feel this alignment now that I've never felt before. Like I can feel this golden rod going through me. And since this has happened, I'm grateful it's happened. It's like I have less choice, but I know I have choice. But it's almost like I really can, like, I know when I'm out of alignment and I know it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Or like,
and I want people to feel that for themselves. Like, I want people to show up and be able to tell me their truth and tell me all their embarrassing things and be loved, right? Like, and be loved and seen. And yeah, so I think there's something about seeing people as whole and not broken. It's like, you know, as someone who's passionate about, like, did orthopedic medicine therapy for 12 years, I'm very aware of broken things. Mm-hmm. So I honor that experience. And yeah, I think for me, after going through counselor after counselor after counselor that thought I was crazy, because I think there is this line of psychosis and spiritual awakening. Yeah, I found a practitioner who's one of our mutual friends.
yeah, love her.
Shanti, shout out.
Shanti, shout out.
But I'm gonna cry. She knows how much I love her. I can connect with her with my awareness in the field. And I don't know what that even means, but
You're supported. You know you're supported.
I can meet her and be seen, and she sees me like so beautifully, right? So I think, finding a practitioner who sees you as maybe even more beautiful than you could ever imagine you ever could be, right? And there's something about that compassionate witnessing, and not seeing you as broken, but seeing, wow, how intelligent is your system that it created these compensations to keep you safe and get you through, and honoring those compensations, and yet
that's
providing,
where we say, thank you, body.
Yeah, and providing also different choices of expansion physically and emotionally that people can try on. Yeah. That's a lot.
It's amazing. Amazing.
That's a lot.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just had, thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
And like allowing me to witness you in that space.
Yeah.
It's my deep honor. And for bringing that on here. that the space that you speak to of just remembering who we are as like this infinite stardust, these infinite atoms. It's so much more. Like, the world of form is beautiful, but when you have an experience of expanding beyond that and remembering who we truly are, there's no way to put that into words.
Yeah.
And so I just like honor you for
Aw.
trying, and I feel like you did a beautiful job of sharing
Thank you.
all of that, because it's not easy. And yeah, I got chills the whole time while you were talking.
Thank you.
Because it's not the same, but had my own experience about 2.5 weeks ago, like diving deep into powerful plant medicine for the very first time.
Yeah.
And it's these medicines are some of the greatest teachers that we have. And it is an honor and a privilege to be able to sit with them in any way. And they don't have to show themselves to us, and allow us to be with them and sit with them in this way, so that we can access these higher realms and get to this state of awakening. But they are here, and they are showing themselves to us so that we can remember.
Yeah.
And they're those of us that are called to those spaces for a purpose. And it's, when I was in ceremony, like, it's such honorable and very hard and courageous work.
Yeah.
In whatever form that comes to you in. And so I just like really want to honor you in doing that in the way that you did, especially like by yourself. Like, I can't.
Yeah. Well,
imagine
that's not advised.
Yeah, not advised
Not
at
advised.
all. And also, like, everyone's journey is so different.
Yeah.
In the way that we come into that state of remembering and awareness.
Yeah.
And it's just like getting to go through that just is that state of like, hey, you're meant to be a leader on this path forward. Like, we are coming into a new age, and things are shifting dramatically in this world of form.
Something's happening.
Do not know what's up, but something's happening, and we
Something's
can't ignore it, especially those of us that are like aware in the way that we are. And so it's like, we are meant to have these types of experiences, as difficult as they are, in order to be leaders and helpers in this new paradigm, because there are going to be those individuals that are just like, they're not at that frequency, and there are going to be big shifts that are going on, and they need help.
Yeah.
They need the help that we are feeling cultivated to offer here. And so bringing that into the world of form through your lived experience is like the best gift that we get to offer.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I'm so grateful that you're you know, coming through it and creating through that, because that's also super powerful, because it is easy to go into those states of, as I'm sure you'll speak to, like, you know, finding the state of depression after even those experiences, because you go there and then you're like, but how do I do this? Like, y'all don't even know.
Your
and then you're
sense
trying
of reality shifts.
sense of reality. And then like you said, relationships, like whether they're friendships or romantic, your work life, like home, like everything starts to shift and change, which is like, it shifts out and through, so that like where you've elevated to, like everything that's meant to be there for you can come into your life. But there is this like shifting out and away, which is also really challenging and difficult, and can induce states of like depression and all these other things, because you feel like you're in this state of loss. At least that was like, has been part of my experience. And so it's like, how do we acknowledge that and also find our help with our practitioners and stuff through that. But then also, like, I think the most powerful thing we can do is create from that space, right? It's like we could go down into the depths, or we could also find a way to like even use that as a way to like, okay, how do I create through that? And it gives like a more intention and direction and purpose even for that, even if it's painful energy. Right? Like it's beautiful to be able to bring that through, and people feel that and resonate with that and see that. And we just get to help from a much deeper resonant states, because there are people out there that are maybe trying to do similar work, but it's not coming from a embodied state. Yeah. You know? Hello, beloved beings. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. I wanted to drop in really quick and let you know about this amazing community that I have been a part of
and has transformed the trajectory of my life over the last few years in magnificent ways. Back in 2023, I chose to partner with a 52-year-old Japanese company to be a part of a massive movement to change regular tap water into pure, healthy, electrolyzed, reduced, and hydrogen-rich drinking water. We are helping to create a new paradigm for living on this planet and pledge to realize a revolution in true health in the form of economic health, physical health, and mental health. If this sounds like your jam, please let me share the vision with you. There is a link in the show notes to sign up for my email list. I'll give you a free ebook, and we'll get started from there. How does it get better than that? Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, well, the person I was with was definitely embodied.
Yeah.
I would say it was his presence. Like, just extreme presence. And yeah, not that was, I mean, I know I chose that to wake me up. I think after, it's a huge shift. And I think that you don't see the light unless you go to the depths.
Definitely not.
And I think the way I kind of was thinking about it today is there's a scale of like kind of super spiritual over here and super material over here. And there's literally a sensation in your body that's like, when you're over here, you literally feel like particles and like you're floating away.
Yeah.
And when you're over here, you're caught on the society train, on the like ego, and in the density of the body. And so my experience after was going all the way over here and wanting to float away.
Like, it was nice over there.
And, bypassing everything. And then like getting very meditation based about brushing my teeth and folding laundry and washing dishes. And then other parts of my journey, I've, like right now I feel like something else wearing Taryn as a costume. Like I took the Taryn to therapy. I took the Taryn here. I had to explain the Taryn. But other times I forget I'm wearing a costume and I end up back over here. And so I think it's the cross. It's bringing the vertical, the consciousness into the material. And having, it's bringing the consciousness into the material and somehow being able to,
communicate that. Like, that's the hard part is you're like, okay, how do I, that's what I'm experiencing right now as well. Is I'm like, okay, how do you take this and bring it here? And not just in a way it's like, okay, I understand it, but like bringing it into the world so that other people can resonate and understand. And like communication, especially through like our words, is so limited. I feel it's like, energetically easy, but like, I mean, for some easy, but like when it comes to through our work and trying to like put ourselves out there, and then like nowadays having all these crazy things like social media and the internet, it's like things just get really muddy. And so it's like, how do we find a way to work with this world to form and bring the consciousness that's meant to be shared through in a way that people are deeply resonating with? And like the only way that, or the messages that I've really gotten within that is like, you create for you in a way that feels resonant, and also trying to like limit all of the external stuff, like staying off of the social media and the other content creators and all of this other type of stuff, because then it's like we get a little lost and we start to compare. And so it's like, what are the messages that you're receiving and coming in, and like, how are you bringing that? How are you bringing that through?
Yeah, it's tricky.
So tricky.
It's tricky. And even just like, I think for me, I think when this happens, you wake up to a whole different sense of self.
Absolutely.
And a whole different sense of reality and a whole different sense of other, right? And if you grasp on too tightly to that idea that you had, like I did for a little bit, it can be hard. And it is. Yeah, it's interesting to just, since this has happened, I feel awareness, and I feel the shapes of emotions and the, so I think with our awareness, that's how we create.
Yeah.
It's through our awareness somehow.
Somehow, and what feels real and true for you.
Yeah.
And that space of like what I was thinking about as you were speaking to like the mathematical equation of like who we are, what you're experiencing is this space of part of like through your practice is like supporting people, but also like bringing them into that higher level of frequency so that they know what's real and true for them and so that they can live their highest purpose, right? Because as a part of that equation, like the only way that it's going to work is if we are all doing our actual piece as a part of that. Like if we're trying to do someone else's piece of the equation, there's no way that's going to work.
We have,
And that's a lot of what's going on right now. So like that was such a beautiful, just a beautiful thing that you spoke to. Because I was like, that allows like to kind of like put this into a different framework to to just get to speak about and try to understand a little bit differently. You have your own piece of the equation.
We have a responsibility to each other to be ourselves.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to each other to be ourselves.
To be ourselves. And we're in a world where it's like a lot of people of us are shamed for being ourselves, or it's like, how dare you like try to be different? And it's like we're trying to like live our difference, but then like maybe we get shamed by society or by our family or whatever. And so it's like, even if you are trying to do that, which like kids are the best example because they're just authentically themselves until they're like.
People on the spectrum that don't have masculine privilege. They're also
authentically
amazing.
Themselves. Oh my gosh. But they have their own challenges as well in this societal world. So it's like, and this is one of the reasons why I don't know if I told you about like how I love the Gene Keys so much, because that's like living your authentic purpose, right? He's like, it's unlocking your DNA.
I don't even know what the Gene Key is. That's how unspiritual I am.
Okay, we'll have to
what
talk
is
soon.
The Gene Key?
The Gene Keys is like a body of wisdom that Richard Rudd brought through a couple of years. Yeah, we'll have to go into it. It's a whole thing. But it's really about unlocking your unique genetic sequence within your DNA. But it's not just you, it's also the collective DNA. Like you have your own profile just as you would for like an astrology reading, right? But like it's not just the Gene Keys in your profile. Like those are the ones that are really prevalent for certain areas of your life, like your purpose, your radiance, like all the different areas of love. So it's like all of your emotional stuff. And yet all 64 Gene Keys are a part of you, and it's a part of the collective. So as you're like moving through, there's a shadow, there's a gift, and then there's a city, which is like the heightened, enlightened expression of
I want to go.
You're right? You're like, I want to go there.
It's interesting. It reminds me. Yeah, it reminds me. I was thinking a lot about epigenetics. Like in thinking about talking, because almost every cell in our body has the DNA code for who we are.
Yes.
Except for some blood cells, some platelets or something.
Cool, didn't know that.
So, it's just, it reminds me of like turning genes on and off with trauma, and then like what could we do if we could
start to
like turn them on with love.
Yes.
Right?
With love and compassion. And that's like why I love the Gene Keys so much, because it's like the way that Richard Rudd transmuted this information. There's a huge book where you can read each shadow gift and city, right? But he also has audios, and there's a few different ways to like interact with it. But even just by reading that information or taking it in any form, you're already starting to flip a switch in a way of like the DNA within you as well as within the collective. And I've like viscerally experienced it even just over like a few months when I first started tapping into it. And I'm like, wow, this is so fascinating. And it's crazy when you actually like let yourself be open to what that is. And it doesn't necessarily require a lot of work. It's really more a state of like awareness. And the word that he uses is contemplation. Yeah. Which is just a state of like letting the information come in and just letting it be there, not analyzing it, not really trying to understand it, right? But just allowing everything to be as it is and knowing that whatever's meant for you will start to come through, and that like if there's a lesson there, whatever it is, it will start to shift and change you, which then, you know, changes how you interact with the world and with others. And it unlocks this deeper sense within you because it's unlocking something within your DNA. So then it's also changing the collective. And so the more that like us as individuals are diving into this work, and it can be work in any type of a way, whether it's Gene Keys or human design is an element of it, right? It's like any stuff like that people are diving into, I'm like, like let's go there, because that is the path. That's part of the path forward in my mind, is like starting to really understand like who we are, but not from a state of like, oh, I'm going to take this information and be like, oh, I'm a manifesting generator, so this, or like, oh, I'm a Capricorn, so then this. It's like, okay, and also like let's head a little bit deeper here on like what's actually going on, and like how does that relate to like different areas of your life, and what awareness is coming up through that, so that like you're starting to make shifts and changes within your internal and external realm to be better for yourself and better for the whole. Like how can I be of greatest contribution to the whole is like a question that I ask all the time when I don't know what to do. I'm like, how can I help?
I think for me, symbolism, like symbols, like whatever it is, Carl Jung was right. Speaks through symbols. Some things are so profound that you can't put words to them. So you can only talk about them in metaphor. And I was just thinking, I was reading about how some of the ancient priests were anatomists. And not only that, but they saw the human body as a reflection of the universe. And so they used the human body as a template for temples.
I think I've heard something about that before, but so not. Beautiful. You're gonna have to send me some information on this.
Oh and then like that ancient eye of Horus or whatever, and how it goes around the pineal gland.
You're like, I'm so spiritual over here.
No, I'm not. I'm just. I know. No, but I'm an anatomy nerd.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I'm like, it's the symbolism and our fascia is literally the mycelium of our body. It has piezoelectric qualities. Like our skin has receptors for compassionate touch. There's a spot in our brain for like compassionate gaze. And we're just so, just thinking of our genes and our bodies, we're just so beautifully, beautifully designed. We are. And as an OT, we kind of geek out on sensory integration and like perception. That fascinates me too. It's like really you see about the size of your thumbnail, and then your brain just like fills the rest of it.
Wow.
And I think we all have these senses that are happening to me. I think there's a part of our body that is just set up to do that. And we just have been taught to kind of like shut it down.
We've just forgotten, because like as humanity has gone through the experiences that it has over quite the period of time, there's been so much that's been repressed and shut down, and for control and all these things that are like part of the human experience. But again, like I had this conversation a few months ago with a friend, and just like we have had to go through this experience of forgetting like to such an extreme, right? And like we're kind of on the end of it, which feels good, but it's like it's gonna get a little worse before it gets better. But like I know and deeply trust that it's gonna get better. I know that because it's like we've had to forget especially when it comes to like our relationship with ourselves, with the earth, which it's like it's like the relationship to oneness, the relationship to source, to God, whatever you really want to call it. It's like we've had to go to such an extreme of forgetting in order to remember, because if you're like constantly in that state, you're like, oh, I'm just living in bliss all the time and this is amazing. And it's like, yeah, but that's not why you're here to be in this human experience. And like, it's also incredibly beautiful. Like when I was going through my experience a couple of weekends ago and sitting with the grandmother medicine, Ma, she's just like, oh my God, she's like the firmest, most gnarly teacher, but she is also like the softest and the sweetest that you will ever have. And so like having those states of like ecstatic bliss, like full body orgasm, but also like understanding this deep pain, and throughout all of it just saying thank you and like loving and breathing through all of it. I mean, like this is all just, it all just is.
Yeah, we came
like when you get to this point where you're like,
we
came to feel it all. It's like attaching certain things to it, or like like trying to control certain elements. It's like that all starts to dissipate as we remember and learn through these experiences, through these like great teachers that we have. And it's not that everyone has to have touch points with them, but they work through those of us that have, which is so incredibly beautiful. Getting to like, that was how I felt after that experience, was just like so honored to have had that call from her, from these teachers. And I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like, thank you so much. And recognizing the great responsibility in that, you know, and I'm like, okay, so I'm here for something so much greater than I could have ever imagined. And I didn't really know what that was, but it's to help be a part of that like awakening process in my own way and in my own practice. And like,
that's beautiful.
But then bring it into the world of form, for me, has at least been challenging. I'm like, how do you do this thing?
It's hard. I think for me, I was stuck in this trauma mindset, right? Like the world is happening to me.
Not through me or for me.
No.
To me.
I was like in survival mode all the time. And and when I sat still and felt the essence of who I was, it blew my mind and called me to a higher responsibility. Like you're saying, it's like, okay, well, if I'm that powerful, I should get my act together and give back and just take responsibility in a different way.
But it does touch on that aspect that you're talking about of like the self-worth thing.
Yeah.
Which I also deeply resonate with. Yeah. It's like we have to overcome that.
Yeah, no, for me, it went from like overnight. It went from like, everything is happening to me, to I am the God and creator
of all things.
And then I went to counseling, and the therapist was trying to do internal family systems with me, and I was trying to find my capital S self energy. And I just felt delusional. I was like, well, I'm kind of a god.
So, you know, really. It's fine.
Not that really, but we all are.
We all are. Like, that's the thing, is we all are source energy.
But to be in counseling, being like, I'm
God. They're like, we might need to talk about some narcissism here, some narcissistic qualities.
Exactly. There's a beautiful quote I read from Joseph Campbell. It's, the mystics swim in the same waters the psychotic drown in.
Wow.
And just kind of like indicating that they're both in the same water. And it's this beautiful ability. I think what parses it out is this ability to dance with active imagination, like to learn to dance with that. As creators.
And not take everything so seriously.
And it's like, it's kind of fun. It's been fun for me to live in that world, to tap into that world a little bit and play with that energy and play with that skill. But it's, I think it's good to divide the lines. Western medicine and spiritual awakening a hard thing to parse out sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone's experience is just so
unique and different.
Yeah. So like learning to navigate that with like your own tools and then providing other things.
Yeah, and what I've noticed is it's an ongoing process.
Completely. Forever transformative.
It's some hero wheel you hop on, and then you do this kind of journey, and it repeats, and we just keep, growing and
shifting and changing and how we show up to that space.
And learning and
changes, and the tools we use change, but we get to do it, which is so beautiful and just blows my mind. Yeah. Most of the time, like when I had the experience that I had, like the most profound thing was just breathing. Yeah. We get to breathe. Like, whoa.
Yeah. What did that explain? That? How did it feel on that?
It just was like there was nothing else, right? It's like I'm not in my body. She's taking over my body. And even though I was like aware that it was there, it's like I'm not there. And so it's like you're going through these experiences and things are getting pretty intense. They will soften, but they do get very intense. And it's like the one thing that you can come back to. It's such a meditative practice, right? And there's like one thing that you can come back to, and it was your breath. And when I would be like deep in it, and then I would just like feel myself breathe and hear it, I was like,
yeah,
this is the most profound thing on the planet, that we get to breathe, that we get to have a body. Because it's like I did have an experience of feeling the infinite being that I am, that we all are, and feeling like the body would do these things and it would try to move, like it was trying to break free, it was trying to get out, and it couldn't. And so I was like frustrated because I was feeling so just constricted by this human form. Yeah. And then having the experience later on of like, whoa, but I get to have this human form. Like there's no way that I could bring everything through that is that I meant to from these other spaces, or like our highs, like light body, like how we can't bring that through if we don't have a form to do that with. So this is just what that looks like. And it's dense living down here. Yeah. And we go through really painful experiences, but we get to, and it all happens through us and for us. And so, but it's like we have to get to that space of remembering and work off past karma and all this stuff. It's like, how incredible is it that like we're here right now getting to have this conversation and talk about these things and do this. It's like, you think about ages ago, like, I mean, there were probably some people talking about this, but like in private, right? And it's like there weren't as many. So it's like there's so much more, like the awakening that's happening on the planet is happening at a faster pace. And so it's like messages like this being able to get out there for people that are having whatever types of experiences that they're having is like, hey, there's help available. Like you don't have to do it alone. And it doesn't matter if you're like in the same territory, in the same city. It's like you can call, we can try to like figure something out, but it's like you have support. Do you want to talk about Tensegrity?
Let's talk about Tensegrity.
A little bit? Yeah, let's do it.
Well, Tensegrity was developed. I always have to like look at his name, Buckminster Fuller.
Buckminster. It's hilarious. I love that.
Is his name, and he was an architect.
Okay.
And he was the one in charge of the geodesic dome.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that. Yeah.
And so the Tensegrity is tension with integrity. And so it's like nothing is really locked down. It's just all under tension. And so it's like if you've seen those Hoberman spheres that are like breathing balls. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
So it's like...
That's what those are called, Hoberman spheres.
Yeah, it's called an Hoberman.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day. Love it. See, the world of form can be fun.
Yeah. But our bodies are a tensegrity structure.
Okay.
And so instead of like the bones holding us up, it's more the fascia is holding up the bones.
Yeah.
And so the Tensegrity medicine stuff is just working with that 3D structure and kind of integrating what I was talking about before, how our beliefs actually live in our fascia and our experiences. And then the other thing I just wanted to talk about was just the beauty and interconnectedness of mathematics and philosophy and art and music and just things that have really hit me have been like the fact that sound creates mandalas. Yeah. and I feel it at different chakras now, like based on the frequency.
So cool.
Which is interesting. But there are theoretical physicists like Bohm who were into philosophy and art, and Pythagoras was into philosophy and mathematics and music. Wow. And I just think we need our artists.
We do. Yeah. Keep creating, guys. Just like you feel called, keep creating.
And they are, that there's something up with that. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's magic. It's a channel. It's a medium to.
There is something to the philosophy and art and music, and it's all the same equation underneath, and we're all set up with our unique antennas to channel whatever that is through us.
Yeah.
So
it just takes a pausing and a listening and a opening.
And mine is energy. I wish I was better at art. Maybe I'll try art.
I wish I was better at art too. I've tried. It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, I think my first language is energy. And so like even before, obviously maybe it was all of ours, even before language. And so for me, it's like figuring out how those intuitive messages are coming through for people in my practice, and just how to work with that.
Yeah. I love that you just said that, because literally on my walk this morning with Henry down by the river, I was reflecting on a conversation that I was having with someone who's just visiting me, and I was thinking how like he has like a martial art that he loves to do, which is like a hobby. It's not related to his work, right? And I was thinking about like how my art, I was like, I have hobbies, like I love the body and I love to do these certain things with my body, and I love to do like aerial arts and stuff like that, but I haven't really done those things in a long time. And then had this reflection of like, my art right now is my work. Yeah. It is the energy and like how I'm showing up in practice, and like the techniques and stuff that I get called to learn, and how I'm bringing that through. Like that is my art right now. And so really like letting that settle in and being like, oh, because there was a moment where I was like, should I be like creating in a different way? And like, this is art as well, right? Like creating the podcast, but I just like had a different type of awareness around it. And I was like, oh, cool. Love that. Just like let that judgment of myself go. But yeah, it was really beautiful. So
thanks beautiful. For sharing that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks. Is there anything else that feels alive on your heart?
No. I think just
a message from your deep soul, from source, that wants to be shared with the collective as we close.
Just that I think my heart is that I want to help people align, whether that's aligning their heart. There's so much heart math, science, and that whoever feels like they're an outcast, kind of on the outskirts, they're welcome.
Black sheep.
Yeah. All the spectrum folks are welcome. If you are different cognitively, you're welcome. Like everyone's in the club.
I love it.
Everyone's invited.
Everyone's invited. Let's all just party together. That's what it's all about. It's just celebrating together the pain and the joy.
Yes, exactly.
All of it.
So.
Cool. Well, I will put all of your information for people to be able to contact you in the show notes. Do you want to is there a best way for people to contact you right now?
I have a website. Okay. It's Embodymend. So EMBODY and then the word MEND.com. And then, so that's my website, and then my phone number and emails on there. Awesome. And then I have a Psychology Today profile that people can check out.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing you with the world.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I love connecting with you.
I do too.
I just love your heart for what you're doing with this too.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
It brings me so much joy.